It's gaming time, baby. And to return to my roots as a gamer, I've decided to talk about a game both pivotal in my early gaming career and one of the largest and most culturally impactful RPGs ever created. That's right, we're talking about RuneScape. Okay, we're talking about Might and Magic 6.
And what can I say about Might and Magic 6? Well, this game super hard.
Well,
You see, Might and Magic 6 was released in 1998, which predates both my birth and the invention of good game design. The 90s were a very different time from our own. To better understand the games of that era, we're going to have to look even further back at the 70s. In 1974, Dungeons & Dragons was published by TSR and sent out to shelves all across the world. Or America, maybe. Ever since then, nerds from all over have been trying to replicate the magic of D&D in a computer game. PDIT 5 and the aptly named D&D are both examples of these early 70s CRPGs. They both also ran on Plato, which was a learning software used by the University of Illinois. You might think, man, what a strange choice. They would choose a specific learning operating system to run their video game on. At the time, the decision wasn't very strange, considering home computing had yet to become popular, and the only place people really had access to a computer was through a business or a college. So while these were possibly the first CRPGs ever created, they weren't available to anyone but students at the University of Illinois. That is, of course, until computers started making their way into people's homes. With the help of the IBM microcomputers, PC gaming boomed in the 80s. Tons of classic CRPGs hit the market. Among them was Ultima, Rogue, Wasteland, and the original Might and Magic. These 80s RPGs are rough and often confusing to our modern sensibilities, but some familiarity with older tabletop RPGs like AD&D can help smooth the experience over. The 80s, as you might expect, lead into the 90s, which gave us Fallout 1 and 2, The Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall, Baldur's Gate, and Might and Magic 6. Just at a glance, you can already see the leaps and bounds that were made over the course of a decade. The 90s RPGs are better looking both graphically and in terms of UI design. They're still outdated and clunky when compared to a modern video game, but they are vastly more approachable than the RPGs that preceded them. Under their crunchy 90s exterior are some pretty fantastic games. Chief among them, Might and Magic 6, which was nominated for 6 different gaming awards. It also lost to Baldur's Gate. But I believe time will tell a different story entirely. Let's take the plot, for example, which, in my unbiased opinion, is one of the greatest fantasy stories ever written. Fair warning, I am going to spoil Might and Magic 6, The Mandate of Heaven, so yeah. As the story goes, the town of Sweetwater is attacked by devils, and 4 residents of said town escape this devil attack with the help of a wizard named Falagar. With their hometown destroyed, our 4 heroes make it their life goal to defeat the devils and restore peace to the land. They travel to New Sorpigal because Falagar told them to do so, and that's where you come in. Because, and this part is not a joke, the player, i.e. me in this instance, or you, later on when you play the game, is diegetic to the plot. According to the cool wizard in the manual, who is not Falagar, by the way, we're using our computer as a scry to manipulate and assist the heroes in completing their quest. The first task of which is to assist the party in delivering a letter to Castle Iron Fist, where you meet Wilford Humphrey, who informs you something. Now you do the council quest. The council quest consists of you befriending all the lords and ladies of the lands to gain access to the Oracle, a person of great ancient wisdom and knowledge who has the means to defeat the Devil Scourge. But before you do that, you'll need to go get a thingy from a dungeon, and then the Oracle needs crystals or something, so you have to do that too. But after all that, once you finally meet with the Oracle, and bear with me because this is where the plot gets really good, you'll learn that the devils are aliens, and to defeat them, you gotta get f***ing strapped. And that's the plot to Might and Magic 6, The Mandate of Heaven. Without a shadow of doubt, the most groundbreakingest story to be told circa the Anthropocene. Now going to award Might and Magic 6 with the award for Best Usage of Narrative Elements 1998. There's the badge. Besides, what did Baldur's Gate do? Blood Cult? Yeah, okay. Pretty sure I read that in Tolkien already. Dumbass. Then again, Might and Magic 6 is a video game, and the story is only one part of a larger work. Let's all put on our game designer caps for a moment and do a little thought exercise. Imagine yourself a game designer. If it were up to you to design the control scheme for a first-person perspective RPG, how would you design it? Take your time with this one. It's a difficult nut to open. Do you have your answer? Because I have my answer. It's WASD for movement and mouse for look. You know that. I know that. Every gamer in the world knows that. We all agreed on it. But imagine now, we ask the nice game devs over at New World Computing, what would they say? Well, my simple subscriber, those pesky developers would have answered my question with the arrow keys. Not just for movement, but also for looking. They gave the party tank controls. And while it's clunky, it's a big step up from games like Ultima 1, which play like an advanced form of a PowerPoint. But you know what isn't much of an improvement? Here's a short live-action clip of me playing Might and Magic 6. See how awkwardly my hands are moving to reach the keys? That's because apparently the devs had never used a keyboard before. Sorry, that was pretty mean of me. The devs were working with the knowledge base they had. You know, we don't look back now at the Model T and think, damn, why didn't Henry Ford just make a Ferrari? That would be unreasonable. Point being, these controls suck, and luckily, someone took it upon themselves to mod in a more modern control scheme. Thank Or you could take your chances with the 61-page manual, which not only explains the game's controls, but also the mechanics and story. On top of all of that, it gives the player hints and directs them on where to go immediately upon starting the game. It's the perfect resource to explain the game's mechanics and guide new players through any challenges they might face, is what I would say if it wasn't a huge f***ing lie. To put it kindly, the manual leaves some discovery for the players. For instance, unnatural aging and its effects aren't mentioned in the manual aside from it being noted as a side effect on some spells. Therefore, it's entirely up to the player to figure out how to fix it when their knight turns 65 from fighting ghosts and loses half their strength. And while the former example is quite frustrating, a lot of the discovery is actually quite fun, like learning that you can use telekinesis or fly to avoid traps on chests. Or my favorite, the fountains. Fountains are only mentioned briefly in the manual. Use the fountains in town for special surprises. Every town has some number of fountains, and in the first handful of towns you'll visit, fountains are strictly helpful. They sometimes heal, restore magic, or give temporary buffs. Fountains are your friends, until you reach Whitecap. You'll find 2 fountains directly outside of the temple. The fountain on the right kills you, but gives you a small permanent buff. The fountain on the left kills you, but also gives you a small permanent buff. You know, special surprises. Might and Magic 6 is one of the few games that I feel I have an adversarial relationship with. It's like the game's been booby-trapped by the developers, and it's the player's job, with only the manual to guide them to navigate through whatever sick trials they've laid out for you. But in spite of that, the game is rarely unfair. Sadistic, yes, but unfair, not usually. The end result being an incredibly high barrier to entry. Unless you're actually willing to spend the time reading the manual, forum posts, or watching tutorials, you'll have an unfortunate time bashing your head against an RPG that will feel like trying to pick a lock with a set of toothpicks. Bearing through it, you'll find an incredibly charming and well-made RPG. So, what did we learn from this video? In the realm of the 90s CRPGs, Might and Magic 6 is pretty cool, and as long as there are computers, there will always be some perverts to program an RPG on it. And tune in tune back in tomorrow. New video tomorrow. I'm gonna post my paint drinking world record speedrun by